I'm digging it, man. I am digging it. Welcome one, welcome all. How y'all doing out there? It is June 27th, 2023. My name is Russell Wayne, and this is the phone sessions. We talking some NFC North right here. I'm talking some NFC North with you. Maybe I'll be talking to myself today. I don't know. I know that I'm going to have main event Mike going to be coming on here in a little bit. This is an 11 a.m. thing. Hope I'm not interrupting anybody's day too bad out there, but you're representing your team. Throw it in the comment right there. I'm a Detroit Lion fan, and we are broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad, the NFC North main event, the Detroit Lions news. We got Mike the Bear fan. We got the 313 in the house right there. What's up, brother? How are you doing? The 313 in the house. Mike the Bear fan. We got Chicago Bear fans represented in the house. We got Bill the Packer fan. Yeah. If you're a Packer fan, you want to go follow that page. It has good Packer content if you're into that kind of thing. And we're streaming live into NFC North Open Mic, and that is a Facebook group right there. So welcome one, welcome all. Yesterday, we had this little talk, and I'm hoping that Greg Rice will come in here just in time, because we're picking up right where we had left off right here with this Terrell Owens versus Randy Moss talk. So when you're looking at Randy Moss, I mean, he's widely known as, one of the greatest receivers of all time. And Terrell Owens was a first round Hall of Fame snub, in my opinion. And I think that Terrell Owens is a better wide receiver than Randy Moss was. I think his body of work is more impressive. I think that he immediately impacted every single wide receiver room that he ever went into. He went to Cincinnati, playing for the 49ers, played for the Cowboys, played for the Bills, played for the Eagles, played in a Super Bowl, played out of his mind in a Super Bowl. One of the greatest Super Bowl performances of all time, Terrell Owens. Now, Randy Moss is one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, but so is Terrell Owens. And I believe that the Terrell Owens body of work is better than the Randy Moss body of work. I don't know. What's your opinion? Do you even care? We can get off of this topic if you want to. If you want to. Right here. Who is the best wide receiver in the North? I mean, I don't know. Oh, I didn't put DJ Moore on there. Oh. Oops. Forgot to put that in there. But Amon-Ra St. Brown and Justin Jefferson are light years ahead of the rest of the wide receivers in the NFC North, in my opinion. In my opinion, and by PFF. PFF has Amon-Ra St. Brown as just a little bit better than Justin Jefferson. Not much. I mean, we're talking about a fraction of a point right here. These are two elite wide receivers that are in the NFC North, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Look at that. Look at those rankings. Look at those rankings. 90 overall. That's elite production right there. Elite receiver. And he's the best run blocking wide receiver in the NFL. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right there. Right there. Justin Jefferson is a better pure wide receiver. Plays the position. I mean, he can run routes. He can burn people. Make people's life a living hell. But Justin Jefferson, but Amon-Ra St. Brown is right there. He's right there with him. Oh, yeah. Anybody up in there in the comments yet? Right there, we got Keith. Lions win the division, 6-0. They were 5-1 last year, Keith. That's a good call. I like that call. You like that? Greg Rice says, Russell Wayne, baby, give me a second. So we are going to have a Greg Rice West Coast Statmaster spotting. We're going to be talking some football. That's what we do here every single morning when it comes to the week. And I don't know if we're going to be doing the Monday night or Monday mornings anymore, because we do the NFC North open mic in the evenings. So we may be doing this 4 days a week in the morning. And but I love it. I love talking football. I remember when we went and did the draft special. We were the only we were the only live streamers that actually made it through the entire draft. Every single minute of the draft, we made it through. Ken Doby, shout out to my homie right there from Bears Nation. It was a Lion fan and a Bear fan handling the draft. But I'm going to take this marathon right here. We're going to go live 4 days a week and talk football in the mornings all the way through the off season, to get that fix in. This is for the avid football fan. We're not looking for no part-timers. Oh, I got to go watch some baseball. No. I'm all about the avid football fan. You eat, breathe your team. The NFC North. We're Lions fans. We talk about this 24/7. Even when we were bad. We're not bad anymore. Lions are going to rule the North. The Lions are going to rule the North. It is time. You have woke up the sleeping Lions. They've been asleep for 50 years. But I'm telling you, this Lions team is different than any team that I've seen from the Lions. It's actually really different than any team that I've seen in the North. This Lions team is something to look at when you're, and I'm not even talking about just the high end guys. I'm talking 1 to 53. I mean, even into the practice squad. Last year, we got contributions from the practice squad, bringing up Tom Kennedy, had a big game. I mean, James Houston was a practice squad guy, drafted in the 6th round. He came in week 11 and had 8 sacks. Look out for that. Look out for James Houston. James Houston's going to wreck this league. They didn't know what to do with him. You got Hutchinson on one side. You're going to have to contend with Hutchinson. You had James Houston getting one-on-ones all over the place, and he can't be blocked one-on-one. It is what it is. It is what it is. This pass rush is going to be special. Bringing back Charles Harris. Charles Harris had 7.5 sacks. He had 7.5 sacks in 2021 before his injury. You bring back Romeo Okwara. I mean, his impact when he came back last year was seen immediately. Immediate impact from Romeo Okwara. 2 sacks in the game he comes back in. He's coming back. He can play inside and outside. That's depth. That's depth. Isaiah Buggs, Kaminsky, both those guys graded well on PFF. 7-0. Well, we only play 6 division games. Yeah. So Calvin says that you got to love wide receivers willing to put their body on a body. Okay. Yeah. I mean, physical wide receivers. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the most physical wide receivers in the NFL. And the stuff that he does without the ball in his hands, there is no other wide receiver like him. All of the skills that don't have to do with actually just catching the ball, blocking downfield, run blocking, pass blocking. He does all of that, as well as gets open every single time. He gets open. He gets open, catches. I mean, he is a top 10 wide receiver. He has put himself there. Facebook user says the Lions are projected by analysts NFL that the Lions will split with Minnesota and split with Green Bay. And the analysts think that Detroit will lose both games against Chicago. I think that they are totally wrong. Agree that the Lions could go 6-0. What do you think? I think it's going to be 6-0. I think it's going to be 6-0 in the division. We have the most complete team from last year. You return all of your front 7 guys, and then you actually add, Broderick Martin to that front 7. You bring in Jack Campbell, use a 1st-round draft pick on that front 7. And then you bring in those veteran cornerback guys. I mean, we were 32nd in the NFL in pass, protecting the pass. Our cornerbacks were atrocious last year, and it was time for an overhaul, right? Yeah, Holmes went in there and gutted that thing. No more Okuda, no more Oworie, no more Deshaun Elliott. You bring in Cameron Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, and Chauncey Gardner Johnson, who's the best safety in the NFL. Led the NFL in interceptions last year. Chauncey Gardner. He's going to bring an attitude to that secondary. It is what it is. All right. Look at that. Bringing in the West Coast stat master right here. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing okay today, Russ. How about yourself, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm just talking to myself right here, and these whoever these avid football fans, Kenneth is in these comments right here saying Detroit Lions. They said that the Lions, this guy, Facebook user says this. I want you to respond to this one. So the Lions are expected. The analysts say that they're going to split with Minnesota and Green Bay and lose both games to Chicago. What do you think about that? He thinks they can go 6-0. That the Lions could be 6-0 in the division. What do you think about that?
I think it is entirely possible. Look, Russ, we are in a very, very strange time in the NFC North where we're getting a lot of hype this offseason, you know? And I think some of it is deserving the way we finished the season. We made some great offseason acquisitions via the draft, via free agency. It is possible that we go 6-0. I personally feel that there is a chance that we could split with all three teams in the NFC North as well. It just depends on health and essentially how the game rolls.
You don't think anybody's going to sweep us, though? That's kind of
No,
ridiculous.
absolutely not. I mean, that is it's not that kind of Lions team. We've always played our division rivals tough. With Dan Campbell, excluding our Dan Campbell's first opener against the Packers in the 2021 season, we've always played all of our division rivals tough. Goes down to the last minute usually. So,
yeah, and what they've been doing, especially where they've been building this team in the middle, you got to win the fight. You got to win the fight in the middle of the both sides, offense and defense, and they have depth. I was just talking about that. The Lions' depth, and it's something that's being overlooked because of this player or that player. But just from 1 to 53, this team is stacked. I mean, with depth on a pass rush, a defensive tackle. I mean, there is depth all along everywhere. I mean, you may question the quality of like wide receiver. Like I think you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then you got a bunch of number threes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no bona fide number two until Jameson comes back.
Agreed.
Okay. I think that I'm gonna get Mike Abraham is going main event. Mike's going to be calling in. So as soon as you hear Run DMC, you know main event Mike. Right on cue, baby. Right on time. You know when you hear Run DMC, that's when main event Mike is on the line. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I kind of went off what we were going to talk about from this morning, but I was just kind of bragging up the Lions and the depth of this team from 1 to 53. That's where we're at right now, but you can segue into whatever you want to, brother. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing so good. Coming off of a great night on the open mic last night, ripping Packer fans, Bear fans, Viking fans to shreds. It was a great time.
Yeah. It was definitely a good time, and there's good reason to be exciting. I mean, usually Lions don't pump their chests out this far. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you think? I mean, do we have the right to do this? Because you were going to bring up some Vegas stuff today anyway. So do we have a right to pump our chests out at all?
Probably not, because we've never won anything.
Stop playing with us.
Always a fair assessment, Mike. I agree.
But
the honesty of this guy.
Man, I mean, if you give a starving man a cracker, That's going to be the best cracker he's ever eaten. He's going to tell you all about how good that cracker was.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That was a Ritz.
Mm-hmm.
Ritz?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yo, are you saying
Not a winning season, knocked the Packers out of the playoffs, sent Aaron Rodgers packing, crushed the draft, crushed free agency? You're darn right. We probably don't have the right to puff our chests out and brag, but the season hasn't even started yet, and we're already ready to go to the Super Bowl, and I love it.
We're in the Super Bowl. Like I had predicted that we're going to win 17 games this year, and I'm probably going to be wrong like 5 or 6 times, maybe. But I'll probably pick the Lions in every single game this year because I'm a freaking homer to the Lions. But it is what it is, right? I know that Greg Rice, West Coast Statmaster, will not pick the Lions in every single game. How are you feeling about that, Greg?
Well, I as much as I'd love to see a 17-0 season, I'd be just as okay with the 10-11 win season as long as that led to a division title and a home playoff game at Ford Field, man. I mean, that is essentially our goal. I mean, if I'm just being upfront and honest with you, Russ, I just want a division title and a playoff win this year. I think we're right on the cusp of something real special. I don't quite have us in the category of the Eagles, Niners, or Cowboys, not yet. I think we could get there if we see our full potential. Our free agents come on really strong at the start of the season. And one thing I will say, Russ, is this isn't unlike this. To me, this is unlike any other Lions season we've had in a long time because I really feel that we are in play for, conference contention, not just division contention. Right. If we can stay healthy and if we can realize our potential.
I want to echo that. Because
nice, Mike.
Yeah, are you in a greenhouse
or something like that?
Yeah, right on. No, when we picked up Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, that is what really pushed me over the edge. I was just like, that one threw me for a loop. I mean, just the fact that they were able to get him and that he came here for less money than he would have gotten in Philadelphia. And now he's coming out and he's actually doubling down on that, saying that he came here and he would have preferred to be here because he thinks the better championship chance is here in Detroit. What do you think about over Philadelphia? Really?
Well, I mean, let's be real here, Russ. I think definitely he came here. We could thank our connections, our networking with that. I think he had a good rapport with Aaron Glenn in New Orleans. Aaron Glenn's here now. I think he liked playing for him. I think he respected the man. And NFL, like any other business, is sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So having that connection and coming from a respected staff such as Sean Payton's makes players want to come here, and that's something we're really not used to in Detroit. And if players do come here, we're usually overpaying by at least a couple mil a year, and that's minimal. When we did bring in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I'm not going to lie, I actually heard it in a chat from a Bears fan. One of Mike's friends, who was ironically on that thing right there, he's like, "Oh crap, Lions just signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson," and I kind of thought it was a joke at first, and I went and looked at it, and to me, that was a power move. This is a guy who I've said it all the time. He's got that Patrick Beverly swag on defense. He's just kind of up in your grill, talks that shit, but he backs it up with good play.
Yeah.
And to me, Russ, I mentioned this in a Lions chat yesterday. That is something this defense needed. I will always reflect back to the Miami Dolphins game last year when in the second half there, they were just putting on a clinic on us. And I remember the TV screening, panning to the sidelines, and all of our defensive players were just hanging heads like, what can we do? This onslaught has started. We have no one. And I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson fills that vocal role as well as brings veteran leadership of someone who's played for contending teams.
Yeah, I love that call right there. What do you think about that main event, Mike? Chauncey Gardner.
I tell you what, I don't take too much stock in his comments because what's he supposed to say? Right? I mean, it's at his new team. Of course, he's going to pump them up. There's a lot of young guys on the team, and those words send a message to those young guys saying that I believe in you. I believe in this team. Now let's go get it done. And I mean, whether he truly believes there's a better chance to win here in Detroit over Philadelphia, that there might be a little hyperbole there, but for sure, to Greg's point, the Lions have the 9th best odds to win the Super Bowl, and in my lifetime, they've never been that good. So, absolutely a reason to be optimistic, and I don't mind puffing my chest out. Hell, we're Lions fans. What have we had to cheer about in 60 years?
Right on.
Not much.
I absolutely believe that he meant what he said about having a better chance to win here, and he bet on it. He bet on it to come and play for less money here. He had a better contract on the table in Philadelphia, turned that down, and then signed this contract. So he agreed because he wants to win a championship more. So he believes in this, and I believe that he believes that. I don't think this is just him, yapping his yapper because he has to, right? I mean, he took less money to be here. And that is something right there that speaks to the culture shift of what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are installing right here. So I got a good call here by Calvin. Calvin says,
before you go there, Russ, I gotta respond to that. Let's be factual here. He did not turn down more money for 1 year. He turned down a 3-year, $18 million. So that makes it more money because it was a longer contract. But for 1 year, Detroit's contract is bigger. So, I mean, let's not sugarcoat it.
Well, but what are you looking for as a player is guaranteed money. There was more guaranteed money in the longer term contract, and you can always renegotiate too. So, I mean, sugarcoating it, I don't think that I'm sugarcoating it. I mean,
I think when you say he turned down more money to come and play in Detroit, that's sugarcoating it, in my opinion, because he took a 1-year deal here for more money on 1 year. And then he can parlay that. And just like you said, Russ, he's betting on his future, right? He's hedging his own bet. So he's betting that after 1 year with a bigger payday on a 1-year contract in Detroit, he can parlay that into a longer per year deal. So, I mean, I'm not calling you out as sugarcoating, but I mean, let's just get the facts straight.
Okay.
I think that was a good breakdown, Mike.
That's a good breakdown, but I mean, the facts are straight. He turned down more money to come to Detroit, whether you want to look at it whatever way. When players are looking at it, all they care about is guaranteed money. And he doesn't have a lot of guaranteed money here because Brad Holmes loves to play hardball and put incentive-based stuff into the contract. So there's no doubt that he turned down money to come here. So, I mean, we need to get the facts straight, right?
Yeah, I get what both of you are saying. I think when it comes down to it, Russ, I think essentially he's looking for that long-term, that 5-year, 6-year deal. And essentially he was offered a 3-year deal. And he said, you know what, I'm going to bet on myself for 1 year to be one of the highest paid secondary players. He has snaps at nickel. He has snaps as a safety. And I think he's trying to solidify not only his versatility, but solidify him as being one of the best secondary players in the game. Last year he got it done. And he was very good in New Orleans. Like I said, I love his style, his grit. He fits this team perfectly. I think he's just willing to gamble on himself. And when it comes down to it for me, I think it's amazing whenever a player says, you know what, I'm going to turn down more money on a longer contract that isn't of my desire, and I'm going to play for 1 year, and I'm going to show the league that I am one of the best, and I'm going to get what I need.
Yep, and he might
the bottom line is, Russ, at this time next year, Chauncey Gardner will have $9 million in the bank. If he stayed in Philadelphia, he'd have $6 million in the bank.
No, they would still owe him another $6 million regardless of whether he played or not. So let's get that. Let's be real about this, because whether you get $6 million in April or June isn't really going to matter, because you're going to have $6 million extra dollars. So yeah, he technically will make $6 million a year, but he'll make $12 million if he would have kept that contract.
Right, and nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. So I totally see your point.
Thank you.
3 years of guaranteed money that'll set him and his family up for the rest of their lives. He did walk away from that. But in a 1-year microcosm, in a bubble, he's going to make more in Detroit for 1 year than he would have in Philadelphia for that 1 year.
And you know what? And that's fair. And if you want to think about it like a fan, that's fine. A fan can look at it like that and put it into a bubble and like that. But this is real life. This is real life. And this guy, it could have had $12 million to be in Philadelphia. Like,
is this really real life though, Russell, or are we living in the Matrix?
Well, we are living in the Matrix. In the Matrix, the Matrix is that, like, Adam Schefter in the headlines love to pump up the big number in the deal that doesn't matter. And the only thing that matters in NFL contracts
guaranteed money.
Guaranteed money.
Agreed.
So
are we living in the Matrix?
We are in the Matrix. It is.
Yeah, Russell Neo.
Lawrence Fishburne's going to come out any minute and go, "What if I told you that Justin Fields is a bust?"
You should have taken the blue pill.
Mm-hmm.
Honolulu blue pill.
Yeah.
Stop playing with us.
All right, now I want to get to this great comment right here because we're all going to get to have a turn on this. What about Gibbs helping the passing game through an actual wide receiver is a good option until J-Mo gets back. And I'll have West Coast Statmaster hit that one first.
Well, essentially, I'm going to be straightforward with you, Russ. As you know, I was that really sucked to hear the news that J-Mo is going to be suspended for 6 games. This is going to give Gibbs a chance to shine. You know, like you accurately put it, we essentially have Amon-Ra St. Brown as wide receiver 1, wide receiver X, if you will, and then we have a bunch of threes behind him in Josh Reynolds, Cleve Raymond, and newly but old head. Acquired Marvin Jones Jr. I think with Gibbs getting a chance to shine in the slot and being used as a legit receiving weapon, we're going to find out exactly if this kid can essentially fill in that role that we all, or I should say, I expected DeAndre Swift to fill in. Obviously, things didn't work out with DeAndre Swift. I actually look at Gibbs and I think he has a much higher ceiling. My biggest worry is like Swift, is using him in all these different roles. If it's going to run the risk of him getting injured faster or not, you know. But we do have David Montgomery. It's a tough question, Russ, because like I said, I'm not one of those people that just kind of blows off the Jameson Williams suspension.
Right.
You got a tough schedule coming up, man. These 6 games are critical, especially when you're looking at conference contention and not just slipping in for a wild card. You know, you need as many wins as you can get.
So the short answer is no. So you don't think that J-Mo is just going to come right in and be able to cover that wide receiver 2 production right there. How about you, main event, Mike?
Well, I think that I agree with Greg 100%. I'm not going to poo-poo the suspension. Sure, J-Mo wasn't a part of our game plan last year, but as it stands right now, Christian Watson was a better draft pick than Jameson Williams.
Yeah,
he's had a career so far. Okay? You can't deny that. And Jahmyr Gibbs is a running back. Sure, he's a great ass-catching running back, but to the commenter's question, I don't see J-Mo lining up on every down at wide receiver. We have a receiver core. I think they're going to use him like DeAndre Swift, but he's going to be a better receiver, and we'll see him lined up outside, split outside, more than we ever saw DeAndre Swift because he just has better hands.
Right. And you know what? I'll be the homer. I'll take the homer stance on this. I think that it is going to be more of a combination type of thing, but the reports out of the camp is that Sam Laporta is pretty good. And
I love it.
That he's been lining up in slot, and a lot of the praise that's been given to Jahmyr Gibbs, actually, when it came to reality, was more Sam Laporta being a wide receiver threat. And they're not even showing him blocking schemes. I've also heard that too, that he is going to primarily be used as a pass catching threat at 6'4" and 250 pounds and 4.5 speed. So I like him being the guy that like supplements some of that production. Sam Laporta, and a combination with Jahmyr Gibbs. And then you got underrated guys. Like I said, we have number three wide receivers in Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, and Marvin Jones. None of those guys I really think are a bona fide number two, but somehow the combination of those three guys, they're going to be able to get the production. I mean, Khalif Raymond has 4.3 speed too. I mean, he's pretty quick. I don't know if he's as fast as JMO, but he's pretty fast. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for the comment. Ken Fisher says, I'm thinking 13 wins and 1 playoff win, a huge improvement for this team. Mike, I'll let you go first this time.
I love that prediction, and I mean that's definitely more realistic than 17 wins.
Oh, you don't like that? Hey, I don't think they're going to win 17 wins. I said I will pick them in all 17 games, and I'll be wrong 5 or 6 times. And so,
right. And for the record, Russ, after you predict 17 wins, you never have to preface your comment with "I'll be the homer."
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, Kenneth says, I'm on. I don't know if that's like the way you say amen now for Amon Ra. You say Aman. You know, who we talking about here? I just jumped on. I mean, we're talking about whatever you want to talk about, Dave. So if you got something in there, let me see if I can't find somebody. People make decisions for more than one reason. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think that he's talking about the Chauncey Gardner. Ken Doby sometimes says, hey, Lions suck. That is all.
Appreciate you, Ken.
Hey, Ken, we love you. You know what? I specifically called you out a little bit earlier in a good way that, you know, the main event was the only outlet that I saw that actually covered, you know, every single moment of the NFL draft that wasn't like, you know, a corporation that is paid to, because we don't get paid for this. We just love it. We just love football so much. So thank you, Ken, for being that ambassador with me, for representing Bears Mafia while I'm representing.
He ain't Bears Mafia. I'll clear that up real quick. But Ken is a great Bears fan.
I didn't mean,
I know.
But I mean, Bear fan. You
Bear
represent
fan. There you go. You're doing great.
Know that I was actually. Was I giving somebody props right there?
No, you're doing great.
So Jason Smith. So thank you, Ken, for being on that marathon with me, and thank you to you, West Coast Master and Main Event Mike, for being on this marathon, because this is the lull of the season right here, and we still got 15 people that give a crap, like Jason, who says, I love listening in to you all every day. And thank you for listening. And see, you don't have to make clever comments like Ken Doby. You can just be a listener. So thank you, Jason. We are going to the playoffs. Playoffs. Really? Okay. Kenneth Scott is on our side. Dave says, I'm optimistic about JMO coming in fresh week 7 against the Ravens. Hopefully he gets that he and Goff are clicking on those deep passes right out of the gate. I'm going to that game with my son. We are going to Baltimore. We bought tickets already. I am going to be at that game right there when Jameson Williams comes in, and I want to see it. I want to take a photograph of the touchdowns that he's going to score in that game. What do you think about that? How about I'll go Greg first.
Versus the Ravens?
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, I'll just put it out there. Look, the Ravens, in my opinion, since moving from Cleveland to Baltimore, have been one of the best franchises in the NFL. I think you're in for a heck of a game, Russell. I think it's amazing that you get to watch one of the most revolutionary, borderline elite quarterbacks play. Not in Jared Goff necessarily, but in Lamar Jackson. Hopefully he's healthy and everything. And that Ravens team is really good. I think you're going to be in for a heck of a game. I think they got a great secondary. I think they've done everything they could to set Lamar Jackson up for success. Yeah, I think you're in for a treat, man. You're blessed to go to that game.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's the flip side coin part of going to a good game
Yeah.
is, we might lose. Like,
Yeah.
that's
And that's okay. And I want to give a shout out to their cornerback, Marlon Humphreys. Been one of my favorite corners in the league for a long time. Going to be interesting to see if he's lining up against JMO or Amon Ross St. Brown.
I love that call. What do you think, Mike? Optimistic? JMO coming back week 7, coming right out of the gate?
Tempered optimism because we saw how the Lions handled him last year. I don't think they throw him in and give him a giant workload. They're not going to go and throw all that stuff on his plate. And it is a pretty neat thrill. I mean, you're going to be able to tell your grandkids you saw OBJ and Lamar Jackson play.
That's right.
That's pretty amazing. I do like the Lions' chances in that game, though. I think they match up well against the Baltimore Ravens. It is going to be interesting to see how well Baltimore can run the ball this year. Who did they have running the ball besides J.K. Dobbins? They had someone else, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. Didn't they bring in a rookie? Didn't they draft one?
I'm not sure about that.
I'd have to double check, Mike. I think Gus Edwards was a free agent this last offseason, though, so I don't think he's any longer with the Ravens. J.K. Dobbins, I know, was having some contractual issues with the Ravens. I haven't seen an update on it lately, but he's a heck of a talent.
I've never seen him run, so I don't know what they'd be paying him for yet. So, I mean.
Good call out, Russ.
So, contract negotiations, I hope that he's giving them a deal.
One would think.
Al predicts Packers to go 6-11. All right, Rob.
You and Vegas both, Al.
So, same for the Bears. Rob also says, "Hey, now, Mike, you were talking. You had some Vegas information. I wanted you to bring that topic in here while we have a few minutes left."
Yeah. If you look at the Vegas odds, this is on DraftKings, is where I'm getting this information. The Green Bay Packers are predicted dead last in every single category by Las Vegas odds makers. Predicted that they have the best odds to finish last in the division.
Wow.
They have the worst odds in the division to win the Super Bowl, win the division, win the conference, all of that. And it really is interesting when you think that they got, probably the best running back duo in the division.
Yeah.
And they've got such a stout defense with 8 number 1 picks on defense, but yet Vegas picks them behind the Chicago Bears. And I just need somebody to make sense of it. They also have the Minnesota Vikings with the second best odds to win everything in the division, which I don't understand that as well.
Yeah.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but if you go on DraftKings or if you go at any sports book and take a look at the prop bets and the team futures, you will be surprised to see that the Lions lead in every category and the Packers are last in every category. So
wow.
Definitely interesting stuff.
Do you want? I got a great comment for that, and I want to go. Let's go back in time like Terminator style right here. And we're going to go to last night's episode of NFC North Open Mic, where we had 3 Packer fans on there that had their confidence level in their head coach of Matt LaFleur at 12 out of 10. Their confidence was running high as far as yapping their flappers. But this right here is showing me that Green Bay ain't betting like their mouths are running. What do you think about that, Greg Rice?
Well, let's be real here, Russ. We touched on the show last night. I honestly feel that for a lot of the younger Packers fans, they're in a situation they've never been in. They're in no man's land. They're going into a year where we see it on social media, the overhyping of Jordan Love. And look, I'm not against Jordan Love. I think the kid has every chance to succeed. When you sit behind someone as great as Aaron Rodgers, now this doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be great, but my thing is, as Mike touched on earlier, is they have such a stout defense, such a stacked defense that has been heavily invested in, that if Jordan Love can just become like a decent game manager and they lean heavy on that run game, let Jordan Love feed off and play action, I think they have a chance for success. I think they've been written off far too easily divisional rival fans, as well as websites like DraftKings. Who knows? Maybe they, these gambling sites, maybe they have insight on the Packers training camp that we aren't aware of. I don't know, but I do like what Green Bay is doing. And if I'm comparing it to another division rival like Minnesota, if I'm to look at both those teams, and we're using the term, what is it, competitive rebuild, kind of a newer term. I'm actually liking what Green Bay is doing. I know they're in kind of a cap situation with a couple of those contracts, such as Bakhtiari's. But I like what Green Bay is doing as compared to Minnesota, and I'm not willing to write the Packers off. I brought this up before, Russ, and I've talked to you and Mike about it. There are 3 teams in the NFC conference that you can just never really say, like, these completely write off. And to me, that's the 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately, and the Green Bay Packers. These are the 3 most successful teams in our era, in the Super Bowl era. So,
and I gotta echo what he's saying there too. I just don't understand how the Bears and the Vikings can have better odds in every category than the Packers. I mean, it's almost like Vegas knows something about Jordan Love that we don't.
But they are who we thought they were.
I mean, suckers like me, I kind of want to run out and put $100 on the Packers, because if Jordan Love is just average, they're going to be better than the trash Bears and Vikings.
Man, I don't believe that. I got to come in here on that one. Like, if Jordan Love is average, they're not going to be good. They're not going to be good at all. I mean, they had a Hall of Fame quarterback last year in the same damn team. And then they won 8 games with that. You minus a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, I don't care if you run the ball. People are going to be keying in on the run. They're gonna find out if Jordan Love can pass. And if he's an average guy, they won 8 games with a Hall of Fame quarterback last year. If he's average, they're going to win 6 games. He needs to be better than average. He needs to be at a level where at least a notch below what a Hall of Fame quarterback was doing.
Yeah, he was a Hall of Fame quarterback that wasn't playing at a Hall of Fame level. He
Agreed, Mike.
was raging against his coach all year, not playing the offense that his coach put in. So he was, I mean, honestly, my personal belief, this is just my opinion, Aaron Rodgers has always measured himself against Tom Brady. And when he saw Tom Brady win a Super Bowl at the age of 43 years old, that lit a fire in him to get something done before his career was over. But Father Time is undefeated. And we saw Kirby Joseph and the Detroit Lions totally dismantle Aaron Rodgers' game plan. He's the mad bomber. He throws sideline routes. He loves to throw the deep ball. Matt LaFleur's offense is more West Coast. It's more pass to the tight ends, pass to the running backs. And we just saw Aaron Rodgers change the play at the line of scrimmage damn near every play to run his own offense. And I don't think you were seeing a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback last year with the Green Bay Packers, and I think that's going to flesh itself out with the Jets this year.
So now it's been completely obvious now. So I want to know, Bill the Packer fan, what have you done with Main Event Mike? And we're going to get to the bottom of this by the end of the show, because you sounded just like Bill the Packer fan right there, making excuses for the Green Bay Packers. That's amazing like that. But I guess Jordan Love may come in and just he could prove me wrong. He may prove me wrong.
No. Here's my Bill the Packer fan impression. The Bears suck.
Hey, well, Russ, if I could just jump in and add a couple caveats to that. Look, man, I think we're leaning too much on just Jordan Love and not enough of what the Packers have done over the last 2 years with their draft picks. To say 6-11, in my opinion, they could. If Jordan Love bombs out, I could see them going 6-11. My only counter to what you would say was to say that players like Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson don't take that next step, and I believe both those guys can. Romeo Doubs, I still feel, was a steal for the Green Bay Packers, one of the most polished route runners in the entire draft last year. The timing was obviously off with Aaron Rodgers. They needed that offseason and all those voluntary camps to work together, and that's just not Aaron Rodgers' thing. I think you've seen Jordan Love put in the work to develop a rapport with the receivers. We got a little sample size that last year versus the Eagles. Granted, it was against the prevent defense, but the Packers have high hopes that a lot of these sophomores and even the rookies are going to come in and play a large role. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit higher on the Packers draft this year. And as Mike was alluding to, it's going to be more of a West Coast style offense. I think it's one of the reasons why they took 2 tight ends early to alleviate some of the pressure on Jordan Love. To where, like, hey kid, you don't have to do it all. We got your back. They still mount a very, very good offensive line, and I think you will see a very aggressive Packers offensive line. And Aaron Jones, I honestly feel like he's probably going to be a shoo-in for the Pro Bowl this year, and could be in the running for a top 5 running back season, statistically at least.
I like that call right there. And, if I want to be a homer to a PFF grade, I could make fun of you and say, yeah, they manned that, 8 first-round draft picks in that 21st ranked defense. But then I would be pretty much making the same argument for the Packers that I make for my own Lions, which is they do have a lot of second and third year players that they expect to take a jump between, especially on defense. But we're going to find out what kind of mettle Joe Barry has, and we're going to find out what kind of mettle Aaron Glenn has, because now talent is, on paper, is no longer the issue for either one of these teams. So we got Barry from Scotland in the comments that says he agrees with me with the Packers. He does not. He calls Brian Gutekunst Brian cunt. But that's just kind of the way they talk over there in Scotland. I think that's So I don't know. Packer fans are deluded. That's what he says right there. I don't know. I agree. Says Dave. Rodgers was off last year. And I mean, it is what it is, man. I thought they started playing better at the end of the year, just like
they
the
definitely
Lions did. So I think that 21st ranked defense is a little deceptive. But if you want to make fun of the Lions, they had the 29th ranked defense, but definitely is a deceptive number when you compare the first 7 games to the last 10. So they've shown more consistency of a good defense than a team that was trending bad. And then Packers can say the same thing too. Rob Mata or Rob Maka. Gosh, I can't even see. Dobbs and Watson may progress, but still have to have someone to put the ball close to them to make the progress. Yeah, I mean, we're assuming a lot out of Jordan Love. If you're a Packer fan, you just expect him to be good. And that's my only issue with Packer fan is right now. It's like there's more than 2 levels of what this guy can be. It's not just good and bad. There's there's a lot of in between, which is probably where he's going to land. I don't think he's going to be playing some, upper epsilon. I don't think he's going to be elite, but I also don't think that he's going to be dog water. So I think that he'll be somewhere in the middle, but where he is on that line is going to dictate to the way the defenses play against him. I mean, are you scared of Christian Watson and Dobbs as a 1-2? Is anybody? A
little bit. The kids showed out.
Yeah.
So
they showed right out. Absolutely.
Well, not according to PFF. Christian Watson was good, but Dobbs was dog water. According to PFF, he was okay.
Yeah,
he was okay. I mean, for us to be, are we putting Dobbs in the category of maybe like a T. Higgins? Maybe is Dobbs
not quite yet.
Waddle? Is he? Is he a number 2? Is he even a top epsilon number 2? I mean,
no, not yet.
Really, if you're complaining about Marvin Jones and Khalif Raymond and Josh Reynolds, I mean, all 3 of those wide receivers are better than Romeo Dobbs.
As of now, I agree with you.
I mean, this conversation by saying, can you believe the Packers are rated with Vegas behind the Vikings and the Bears? I mean, that surprises me. That doesn't surprise you. That doesn't surprise your viewers.
Well, the Minnesota Vikings won the division, so that doesn't surprise me there. The Chicago Bears have made notable improvements. They had $100 million of cap space, and they bought a lot of starter talent and depth with that. Now, they're betting that that will come together. That will come together, and they already have an established quarterback. They believe that Justin Fields is not going to be Jamarcus Russell. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's my quarterback.
but he could be Jamarcus Russell. Oh, Ken Doby. Oh my gosh, you're in the comments. You know what? I never even put this out there. Oh gosh, it is too late now. I don't know if I want to do that right now. We're almost to the end of the show, but we've been having such a good conversation right here. And I know that Ken would want to come in and defend himself right there, and tell me how great Justin Fields is going to be. And this is the year. This is where he's going to bust out, because we got Nate Davis and we got DJ Moore. We are all of a sudden a top 10 offense, just miraculously, with those two players.
I mean, Russ, I'm just going to come out and say it. I really like the Bears' chances of finishing higher in the standings than the Vikings at this point.
We can agree there.
Yeah, I honestly feel like the Vikings are a good case of being one of the teams in the NFL that go from first to worst. I just, I don't want to beat this into the ground or anything. I just think so many key losses to so many key veterans, regardless if they're in their decline or not, just that presence, the intangibles that like the regular fan doesn't see, that locker room leadership, those players to lean on when, the game's on the line and stuff. I just, I don't know. And I like Brian Flores. We've talked about this, Russ, and I've spoken to Mike about this. We know he's going to come in with some exotic blitz packages, disguise everything, and he's going to have to make up for so much personnel loss. I just see essentially the Vikings this year. I think that offense can hang with anyone. Obviously, Cook is a much better runner than Madison, but I think KOC's offense is predicated on passing the ball. So, and I think Madison is decent enough to take advantage of a lot of nickel defensive schemes, So, other than that, though, I could see the Vikings going 6-11, 7-10.
Yeah, I think that you're even being nicer to them right there, because I think they're completely underselling the fact that Dalvin Cook is what he is, because there is nobody that's going to be throwing 8-9 boxes in there with Alexander Madison and Dwayne McBride. I mean, I'm high on Dwayne McBride as anybody else. I think that was a great draft pick for the Vikings. I'll give them credit where credit is due, but this guy is not Dalvin Cook, guys. Like, they are going to be able to use nickel packages against that run. And unless Minnesota can provide a running game with that three-headed monster, it's going to be harder for Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson to get themselves open. So, but they could, all that could work out great for them. Maybe Addison is just boom. He's just as good as Adam Thielen. And
Ross, that's a great call out right there. That Alexander Madison not scaring anybody. They're not going to put 8 men in the box to stop him like they did Dalvin Cook. And I don't think you can oversell that point. So that's a great call out. I got to jump off. Can I plug the show before I go?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
It's the NFC North Open Mic, broadcasting live into Facebook every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to log on to the main event. We're broadcasting to some of the biggest groups in the world in regards to the NFC North. We have all 4 fan bases represented, and we're talking smack. It's a shit-talking group. Let's not sugarcoat it. Bring your thick skin, and you might just leave with your feelings hurt. It's every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the NFC North Open Mic.
Thank you so much, Mike, for coming on and giving your awesome football knowledge. And I always enjoy a good football conversation right here. And
thanks, guys.
Bye, Mike.
Later, Mike.
There we go.
By the power of Ra.
Yeah, and this was a great conversation today, and I can't wait to really pick this up with you guys tomorrow, and we can jump right back into this. Is like, I want to know if you're feeling good about your team. Why do you feel good about your team? We provided some evidence on why we think that the Lions are going to be good. It doesn't sound like there's as much confidence is in the other teams in the North as shown by Vegas anyway. I'm not telling everybody to go out there and bet their money, but it sounds to me like the mouths are a lot bigger than what people are willing to risk for their team. Yeah. And a lot of people are betting on the Detroit Lions right now because I can't get good odds. I got to find some odds. Like plus 5,000 or something like that for Goff to win the MVP. So, I mean, I might go after that one, but that would be a kind of a waste of money. But, you know, you can throw $10 on something like that and, you know, and win $500. That would be cool, you know.
For sure.
If it actually works out. But you got any
all money's good money
for the 13 people that are left watching?
Stay tuned. It'll get better.
It will get better. So from Russell Wayne, it's the West Coast Stat Master. We are broadcasting live. We want to put shouts out to the Detroit Lions Villain Squad, NFC North main event, Detroit Lions News. Thank you for letting us broadcast into your spots. Mike the Bear fan, Bill the Packer fan, from Russell Wayne, West Coast Stat Master. This is the NFC North phone sessions. God bless each and every one of you. Have a good one. Peace and love.